Have you ever felt overwhelmed by a messy dataset? Too many rows, too much clutter, and no clear path to the insights you're looking for. In this video, we're diving into the art of data cleaning. Watch as we take this disorganized mess and turn it into a crisp, professional spreadsheet, where every row and column is structured and insights practically jump off the page. Let's get started. So this is what our dataset looks like. It shows population data for every country in the world from 2020 to 2023. The first issue is that our dataset does not begin in cell A1. In a spreadsheet, your data should always start in the very first cell. Right now, it's just randomly placed in the spreadsheet. So let's fix that. We're going to select the empty cells above all the data and say delete. And we're going to do the same with the empty columns. Right-click and delete. Next up, we need to fix our cell spacing. You'll notice there are all these weird numbers over here and some hashtags too. Those are displaying that way because cells are not wide enough to show all the data in that cell. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight our data set and we're going to double click on any one of these lines. You'll see that your cursor changes from a cross to a line with two arrows on either side. And when we double click on these lines, our cells will automatically adjust. There we go. Now we can actually see the populations and the country names. Now we are going to do the same with the rows. So let's select the entire data set and again click on one of these lines and it will adjust everything nicely. Next up, we want to fix the spacing issues in this document. In some cells, the spacing issues are quite obvious, like Africa, Eastern, and Southern. You can see that there's triple spacing over here. But in other cells, it's not as obvious, like the random space before Aruba. So to do this, we're going to need a blank column. Let's select column B, right-click and say insert. I'm just going to give this column the same name, country name. And now we're going to use a function to fix the spacing issues. It's called trim. And we just select the cell that needs to be fixed. And if we drag this down, we'll see that all the spacing issues have been solved. Now the data that we want is all in column B because this is what we fixed. So instinctively you might think, okay, let's just delete column A. But this is what happens. We get an error, so I'm going to quickly undo that. And that's because we've got a formula in column B, and our results in column B are pulling from column A. So what we actually need to do is select everything in column B, copy it, and paste it in column A, but we're going to paste it as a value. So we're going to go to paste special, values. Now we'll see if we try and delete column B because they are pretty much identical now, there will be no issue. What paste value does is it just copies over kind of what's on the surface level. It doesn't retain any kind of formulas attached to the cell. And that's what we want in this case. The next thing we want to do is delete these country codes. That's everything in the brackets because in this case, we don't need them. So we're going to highlight column A, go to Home, Find and Select. We're going to select Find and Replace. And in Find What, we want to put a bracket, an asterisk, and another bracket. And we want to say Replace with nothing because we just want to remove that code without going to each cell and deleting the contents. So let's go to Replace All. Great. And close. And there we go. The code names for the countries in the brackets have been removed. Next up, we want to remove the capitalization. So again, we're going to need an empty column for this. So let's select column B, say right-click and insert. And again, let's put in country name. And we're going to be using another formula called proper. And we're just going to select the cell and it will automatically change everything for us. And by double clicking on this little square, everything will change automatically. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing by copying over and pasting just the value into column A. Now we can delete column B. There we go. Now, the last two things you can do to just make your spreadsheet look better and make it easier to work with is you can bold your column headings and you can select all your data, go to View, and freeze the top row. Now, because this is quite a long data set with over 280 rows, if you scroll down, you would lose your column headings. But now that we've frozen the top row, we can scroll down and the column heading moves with us. Now let's take a look at the spreadsheet we've ended up with and what we started with side by side. There's a huge difference. And I hope you can see that by using just a few easy tips and tricks, you can make your spreadsheet much, much easier to work with. And the process of cleaning up a dataset can actually be fun. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe for more data-driven content.